All right, guys, it is another Tuesday evening. It is just about 5 o'clock here on the in the Eastern time zone. I shouldn't say East Coast because Ohio is not the East Coast. But we are going to cast some pen blanks tonight. So I will, we'll do a little bit of an intro. We'll show off the results from last week. I'll show you something that I picked up over the course of the week, and then we'll cast some pen blanks. So we'll wait and give people a few seconds to show up. Hey Todd, how's it going? Angie, what's up? All the usual suspects. And before I forget, for like the third or fourth or fifth week in a row, I feel terrible, but Todd from TLF Works is the one who is the moderator for these live streams. So he's the guy putting up the all of the graphics and text on on the screen and highlighting the comments and all that. So big shout out to him. His link for his YouTube channel and his website are in the description. So before we get started, if you could do me a favor and head over and subscribe to him, that would be awesome. Jim and Angie. Jim just got off a computer. Angie's at work. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully getting off the computer is a good thing to watch this live stream, and hopefully work goes a little faster because of this live stream. So tonight we're going to cast some pen blanks, and we'll have a good time. We'll give people another couple minutes to get in here. Tuesday. Does anyone have any big plans for this week? I know yesterday I had a huge laundry list of things that I wanted to get done, but sometimes even the best laid plans, just what I had planned for yesterday and what actually happened were two very different things. It was overall it was a pretty good day, but it just didn't happen. The things that I had on my to-do list didn't quite get done because other things happened. Ray, what's going on? Todd's birthday is this week. So, like I said earlier, before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to Todd's channel, TLF Works, head over there, subscribe. He's the one who is highlighting the comments and putting the banners up on the screen. He helps me moderate these live streams. So head over there before we get started casting and subscribe to his channel. Happy early birthday, Todd. Also, I am on Patreon, so if you guys are interested in that, the link is in the description as well. I do want to thank my top tier patrons, Mark and Angie. I promise I am getting ready to do a couple giveaways here real soon. So if you guys want to get in on those, or at least get in for the July one, Patreon is an option. Another thing I did want to address real quick, it was brought up a couple live streams ago that there is no super chat option. That is true because I don't have the watch time to monetize my channel. I have the subscribers. I just don't have the watch time. So one option in lieu of a super chat, if that is something that you're interested in. If not, no big deal. But if that is something that you feel strongly about, there is a donate button. It goes through PayPal, but there is a one-time donate button if Patreon isn't your thing. That is an option on my website, cross-cut-creations.com. The website and all of my social medias are also in the description of this live stream as well. All right. So let's go ahead and show off what we did last week. So last week, if you guys remember, we refinished two pens. One was a mini bolt action pen, and the other was a Zen. Now these were cut from the same blank. I believe it was a Box Elder Burl hybrid. But here is what the mini bolt action looks like. And I am insanely happy with how these turned out. So there's the mini bolt action. And here is the Zen. We sanded these down to the raw wood and resin, and then we went ahead and refinished them. And I am super excited about how these turned out. These are pens I can be proud of now. These were pens that I did when I had a little less experience, and it was time to refinish them. So we did that, and I couldn't be happier. Now I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera here, and that's not what I meant to do. So if we go, we'll go ahead and flip the camera, and now we have our casting station. And I was able to pick up this guy this week. It's just a small Ryobi. They call it the 4-volt quick turn screwdriver. I've been using just a regular hand screwdriver for my molds, and I might still use that, but I thought I'd give this guy a try, just to see how it performed. Obviously, I haven't tried it yet because I haven't even taken it out of the package, but I'm excited to add that to the arsenal. Okay. So, we have some dye stabilized elm burl. I have 3 pieces tonight. So here's one of them. You can kind of see the profile. It's got a lot of nice, figure and a lot of nice natural edges. So there's one, and then there's 2 more in these molds, and then I have some other molds ready to go for the overflow of resin. So the first thing we need to do is I need to use the hot glue gun, and this is the Ryobi one. I'm not sponsored by Ryobi or Ryobi or however you say it. I think it's Ryobi technically. I'm not sponsored by them, but this brand is what got me into the game of making at that price point. So I'm going to put the battery on, and I'm going to turn on the hot glue gun, because what we want is we want these burls to stay in the pen blanks. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put a small dab of hot glue on the underside of each of those burls, just to keep them in the mold and make sure that they don't float. Thanks, Todd. I was really excited about how they did turn out. Ray, thank you. Angie, I have that. I love mine. Use it all the time. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to at least try it out. It's a small tool that'll save a little bit of time. So I'm happy to see, I'm excited to see where it goes. While we're waiting for this to heat up enough, let's go ahead and plan on casting 3 colors tonight. Knowing that these burls are dyed purple, what 3 colors do you guys want to see in these pen blanks? I have Caster's Choice mica powders. I also have Divine Pigments from Braxton over at Divine Island Design. So even if you guys have general colors, go ahead and throw them in the comments. Ray says, do you do any clear cast labels? So the short answer is not really. If I look in here, I do have some of the molds for a few different pens from P-Town Subby. So I do have those 2 bin molds. I have done a few of them, but it's not something that I do regularly. I've also cast a few clear watch parts blanks. If I can find those real quick, I'll grab them. Let me see. I just reorganized all of my blanks that are in stock, and now I'm not sure where they got to, but oh, here they are. All right, so I actually have 2 juniors. I have 2 junior watch parts pen blanks. There's a little bit of dust on there, but that's just surface dust. So there's a junior watch parts that's clear cast. It's not a label, but it is a watch parts. And then I also have this junior watch parts as well. So those are the only 2 clear casts that I have right now. But I know there are some very talented label casters out there. Go ahead and put those back. Okay, so we have gold and bright green. Okay, so let's say, oh, look at that. Gold and lime green. Imagine that, right next to each other. All right, so there's 2 of those. Gold, lime green. We have purple burl. Give me one more color. And while you're doing that, I'm going to start. Here's the underside of the burl. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a small dab of hot glue on the bottom there. It doesn't take much at all. And I'm just going to set it in there. Press it down for just a couple seconds. And it would be good to go. And I'm going to do that for each of the other 2 burls here. If I can get this one out. This one doesn't want to play nice, so we'll get it. We've got lime green, we've got gold, and I need one more. And again, this dab of hot glue just keeps these burls in place so they don't float. It really doesn't take much at all to keep them in place. And now what I like to do, now that I'm done with the hot glue, I like to turn it off, and then I like to take the battery out just to make sure that there's no chance that anything really, there's no chance of it, staying warm or anything like that. I'm going to get 3 cups for 3 colors. One, 2, and 3. We're going to put some gloves on. We're using HDPE molds from P-Town Subby tonight, so I generally don't spray mold release in my HDPE molds because they're pretty non-stick by nature. Thanks, Ray. I do like those watch parts. They do take some time, but they're definitely worth it. I learned from Ernie Baraga at the Mid-Ohio Valley Pen Turners Gathering this past September, and it was a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, right now we're casting at about 57% humidity and 68 degrees, so I could get away with color casting, but clear casting, it might be a little on the humid side. All right, green, gold, and let's do something like a white. Why not? All right, so we have green, gold, and white. I'm going to pour my A into my cups, then I'm going to introduce color, then I'll pour the B into the cups. I've got popsicle sticks here ready to go. Now with these hybrids, I have, I get asked quite a few times, how do you know how much to put in the, how much resin goes in the mold? And with these being irregular, with the burls being irregular shapes, it's hard to get an accurate measurement. So I know that the individual pen blank molds here take about 100 grams, give or take, of resin. So if they're empty, so if it's half full, I pour about 50. If it's a quarter full, I'll pour about 75. If it's 3, so you just have to kind of estimate. And I do intentionally pour more than I need, just so I make sure that I have what I have, and then I fill other pen blanks. So we'll go ahead and start pouring our A into our cups. We'll probably do about 90 grams of A for each of the 3 colors. And I know that's way more than we're going to need, but we'll get quite a few either pen blanks and or ring blanks, depending on how much we end up with. We're at 85, 89, 90. Now, if you're going to be, you want Alumilite Clear Slow, because that's what I'm using. If you use Alumilite Clear or Alumilite Clear Slow, it is a 1-to-1 ratio. So that means however many grams of A, you also have to have that many grams of B. So because I'm pouring 90 grams of A, I'm also going to pour 90 grams of B. And if you're over on either the A or the B, you want to be over on the B because that's the hardener. If you're over on the A, you run the risk of your resin not setting up. Okay, there's 90. And we have a third cup. We want to make sure that we're at 0 each time just to make sure that we're getting an accurate reading. $74, 83, 89, 90. Okay, that's why I love these. 90. I love these pumps because I can more accurately control the amount that's dispensed. All right, so let's go ahead and add our color. So we'll start with gold. And there is no right or wrong amount to add. I like to add about 3 heaping scoops because I like my blanks to be more of a solid color rather than a translucent or see-through color. That's just how I prefer them. If you want more of a translucent effect, use less mica. If you want more of a solid blank, use more mica. Experiment with what. Just do some experiments and figure out what you like or what you think looks good. So here's the white, 1, 2, 3, and there's also a pretty neat popsicle stick test that you can do to see if you have good coverage if you're looking for a solid blank that I'll show you guys when we go to stir these. So I'm just mixing in my colors now. Gold, green, and white. Tonight we're using Caster's Choice mica powders. Caster's Choice mica powders, as well as Divine Pigments, are both available at P-Town Subby as well as Turner's Warehouse. They might be available other places, but I know those 2 places carry both of those pigments and dyes and micas for sure. So we'll go ahead and put the colors away. Now that I have these generally mixed in, I'm going to get ready to pour my B side into each of these. Now, we poured 90 grams of A, so that's going to be 90 grams. The popsicle stick weighs something, and the cup weighs something. So we want to put our cup with our resin on the scale. Then I hit the on button, and it zeroes it out for me. So you want to make sure that you're at 0 there. Now we're ready to pour our B into our cups. And we're going to go for 90 grams of B. There's 50. $75. This is where the controlled pour of the pumps really come in handy. When I didn't use the pumps, there would be definitely times where I would over pour on some of these. So there's 90 grams of B in the gold cup. I want to make sure that I'm at 0 grams here, and I am. So I'm good there. I always double check, especially when I get ready to go pour B, because in theory it should always work out the same, but sometimes, like, I know my scale has been weird lately, so I like to double check and make sure. We're at 70. $82, $85, $86, $88, $90. Okay. And I like to leave it there just for a second, just to make sure that we are, that there's no fluctuation. If there is fluctuation, I can figure that out and adjust accordingly. We're at 0 again, so we're ready to go to pour our B. So here we go, 90 more grams of B. $70, $77, $85, $88, $90. All right, now that we have 90 grams of B in all three of our cups, I can start stirring. Now, I'm using Alumilite Clear Slow, so it has a 12-minute open time. Now, depending on where you're at in the world, if you're using Alumilite Clear or Alumilite Clear Slow, I'll address Clear Slow just because that's what I'm using. It claims it has a 12-minute working time. If you're somewhere that where there's a cold climate, you might have a little more time. But if you're in a warmer climate where, if your shop is already, 80, 85 degrees and that's room temperature, that resin might already be really, really warm. So you might not have that full 12 minutes. And with Alumilite Clear, that's a 7-minute working time. So same thing. If you have, if you're in a cold climate, you might get a few more minutes out of that. But if you're in a warmer climate, you might get less than that. You always want to scrape the sides of your cup just to make sure every little bit of resin is getting mixed correctly and thoroughly. I also like to stir both clockwise and counterclockwise just to make sure it gets nice and mixed. I also think in a little bit I'm going to introduce some macro pearl into these colors just to make these blanks have some sparkle in them. So I'll introduce that as well. And again, with the macro pearl, it's another Caster's Choice product. There is no set amount that you have to put in. You can put in as much or as little as you want. If you want just a little bit of sparkle, put in a little bit of macro pearl. If you want a lot of sparkle, then put in a lot of macro pearl. So the popsicle stick, I like my blanks to not be translucent. I like them to be more solid. So what I do when I go to cast these, as I'm stirring, I take my popsicle stick out of the resin and I let it kind of drip down. If I can see the grain of the wood of the popsicle stick through the color, then my blank is going to be a little more translucent. But if it's completely covered and I can't see that grain of the wood, then I know that I've got enough in there for it to be a solid pen blank that is not going to be as translucent. That doesn't mean you shouldn't paint your tubes, but it just means that it'll be more solid than not. My arm probably just ruined that shot of me checking the coverage of the popsicle stick. You get good color separation at 95 degrees with Alumilite Clear Slow. So that's what I generally aim for. I have a Harbor Freight temperature gun that I use, and I don't necessarily use it a ton, except for at the end. And I judge how warm the cup feels. When the cup starts to feel warm in my hand, that's when I start checking the temperature just to see where we're at. If the cup doesn't feel warm, then I know that I'm probably not close to 95 degrees. Another indicator would be if the resin seems to be thickening up. That's another indicator that it could be warming up and getting ready to it would be getting ready to cure. It was in the low 90s today in Ohio, and I was able to get about 25 miles in on the bike, on the road bicycle, before it got too hot. So it was a good exercise day as well. Make sure we're scraping the cups here. Told you guys I was going to add macro pearl, and then I didn't. I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached some days. All right. Let's go ahead and add macro pearl. So I'm going to take this, and generally I just take a popsicle stick, and I usually just add about 1 heaping scoop of macro pearl to each cup. That's usually my starting point. Obviously, I don't know if that's redundant in the white pearl, but it's what I did, so it's fine. But that's generally my starting point. Obviously, you can't take it out if it's too much, but oftentimes I find that it's either just right or I end up adding just a little bit more. It's really hard to see the effect of macro pearl on camera. We're at 87, 80. We're at about 87 there, so we're getting close. This resin seems to be thickening up. When I check my temperature, I always stir and then I check on the popsicle stick. Wow, that one's showing that it's ready. So as long as 2 of these 3 are at 95, somewhere between 95 and 100 degrees, we'll be good to go. So, all right, we are actually ready to pour. So I'm actually going to try something just a little bit different tonight. Let's see, gold, green, white, gold, green, white, gold, green, white, gold. We'll scrape as much of this off as we can. There's gold. There's green. And there's white. Now, when I go to put these in the pressure pot, my compressor is going to go off. I will check the live chat here shortly, but I will address the live chat and have a conversation with you guys once I get these in the pressure pot and the compressor goes off. So now that these are good, we're going to bring our blanks over here, and I'm just going to pour in I'm going to pour this resin into my mold. There we go. There we go. Now we have a ton of extra left over, so we're going to use the California Air Tools pressure pot. Let's see. All right. We'll top this guy off. He's a Choya that I had that I was working on. We'll get a pen blank here. We'll have a ring. We'll have ring blanks here. We'll have another pen blank here. And we'll start another pen blank over here. Now I need to get all of these in the pressure. I need to get these in the pressure pot, so these are going to go. Just give me a second here. It's the nice thing about the larger 5-gallon pressure pot. I can put more molds in them. They hold a lot more. But I need to start moving here. We are in the pressure pot. Now I just have to put the lid on, get everything tightened down. Sorry, we're off camera here, guys, but that's just where my pressure pot lives. Or at least the California Air Tools pressure pot. You guys can see the Harbor Freight pot that lives on the casting bench there. We're still in good shape. I'm still just tightening down these bolts here. And it's time to get air into this. Okay. All right, that's the only downside to that air compressor is it is insanely loud, but honestly, it does the job well enough, and I can't complain too much. Okay, so the chat's been kind of quiet tonight. So there we have it. If remember correctly, we got about we'll probably get 4 ring blanks after we cut them up. And then we'll also get probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 pen blanks out of that. So so that's what we'll have for that. It's about 5:40 now. So I don't know. 9:40, we'll take them out of the pressure pot. I'll get them probably out of the pressure pot tonight, and we will get them. We'll get a good picture tomorrow for the blog post and for Instagram. I do a blog post on my website every Wednesday to recap the Tuesday night live stream. So if that's of interest to you, be sure to check that out. My website does have quite a bit on it. It has past YouTube videos. It has blog posts. It also has merchandise as well as handmade goods that are for sale. So there's a decent variety on quite a bit there. There's a variety there. Those are a good way to support the channel if you're interested. Some of the other ways you can support the Crosscut Creations channel. I mentioned Patreon earlier. There are 4 different tiers there. Once again, I'd like to thank my top tier patrons, Mark and Angie. Patreon, there's a donate button if you want to do a one-time donation. If a completely free way I shouldn't say completely free, but something that doesn't cost you anything extra. If you use one of the Amazon affiliate links, either in the description of my videos or on my website, use that link to make a purchase off of Amazon. I get a small cut from that, and it costs you absolutely nothing extra. So that's a great way that you can support the shop without spending anything extra. Todd says those blanks look real green. Did the other colors show up as well as you put them in the pot? I did think that there was a good mix. I will definitely take them out of the pressure pot tonight or tomorrow morning. I will hopefully get them trimmed up, and then I'll be sure to attach a picture to the blog post as well as Instagram, so you guys will be able to see exactly how they turned out. I'm pretty excited for those. So I thought it went pretty well. Tried something just a little bit different tonight in terms of pouring. I normally use an old sports drink bottle, whatever I can get a hold of. And normally I pour one whole color in, then another whole color in, then the third color in. But tonight I decided to kind of layer it and see what happened, just to see if that would produce anything different. And I guess we'll find out in about 4 hours, because that's the demold time on Alumilite Clear Slow. If you're using just Alumilite Clear, the demold time, or the pressure pot time, is 2 hours, but Alumilite Clear Slow, the pressure pot time is 4 hours. But I believe, in my opinion, the 4 hour time frame is worth it to have the extra amount of time, because I feel like even once Alumilite Clear Slow gets up to that 95 to 100 degree temperature, it usually affords me a little more time before it sets up and it's too late to get it in the pressure pot. When I used Alumilite Clear, I felt like once it hit that 95 to 100 degree range, it really it took off. And there were times where I didn't get my blanks in the pot in time, and it was not a good day. So yeah, that's where we are. Those blanks, as I said, they will be in the pressure pot for probably close until, 9:30, 9:40, give or take, 10 o'clock, somewhere in there. And we'll get those taken care of. So if you guys have anything to add to the chat, we can do that. Otherwise we can call it a night. If you guys want to have a conversation, we can. If you have questions, throw them in the chat. I'll stay on here as long as people are interested. Otherwise, we can kind of call this one a fairly early evening, and we can call it there. What do you guys want to see next week? Do you guys like the actual turning projects? Do you like when I cast blanks? I know you can't necessarily see the finished product of the blank until the next day, or even the next live stream. But are you guys more interested in actual turning projects on these live streams, or would you guys like to see more casting? Most of these turning projects, they'll probably be pens of some sort, or some sort of kitted projects. There have been times where it's been floated out there that if I could do a ring, and I do plan on doing that, I just have to get comfortable with doing rings before I do it on a live stream. I'm trying to think of what else there is. There are other options, but kitted projects, so pens, keychains, things like that. We did a refinishing video last week, so that was lathe based. Okay. Todd says, have you turned a bottle stopper lately? I haven't, and that would be fun. Maybe we'll turn one of those walnut shell blanks that we cast on a previous live stream. So maybe we can do that one either next live stream, or the live stream, a live stream in the future. Angie says, I like both. Cool. Jim likes the casting. Jim, do you cast do you cast blanks yourself as well? Or what do you like to see cast? Because sometimes I do hybrid, stabilized burls. Sometimes I just do straight resin blanks out of Alumilite. It would be Alumilite Clear Slow. Sometimes I do knife scales. We could take a block mold and do a flip cut pour. There are all kinds of fun options. All right, guys. So I do want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I do have a lot of fun on these. Thanks for interacting. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for being part of the live chat. I do really appreciate it. It is a lot of fun when you guys interact. I do appreciate you guys for being here. We're coming up on about 50 minutes. The blanks are in the pressure pot. So we'll go ahead and call it here, and we'll see you later. Have a great week, and let me know if you guys have any questions.